Have you ever found yourself wondering, is any of this actually working? You've been showing up, reading, praying, writing, healing, walking, making better choices, trying to think differently, trying to become a better version of yourself. Yet somehow it still feels like you're standing in the same place. What if the reason you can't see your growth is because you've been there every single step? Today, let's reframe what progress really looks like. Hello, beautiful human. I'm your girl, Andrea, and welcome back to Reframe with Andrea, where together we challenge old beliefs, shift perspectives, and intentionally create lives that feel aligned with who we truly are. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And if you've been walking with me on this journey, thanks for coming back. It's very much appreciated. Today's conversation is for anyone who's ever felt discouraged because the transformation they hoped for hasn't happened as quickly as they imagined. If that's you, I'm really glad you're here. Let's talk about something that I think we all need to hear. We notice outcomes, but we miss progress. It's funny, isn't it? We celebrate the finish line, we celebrate the promotion, the weight loss, the new business, the healed relationship, but we rarely celebrate the tiny moments that actually got us here. The decision to keep going, the boundary we finally set, the walk we almost skipped on a rainy day, the difficult conversation that we finally had. Those moments usually don't make headlines, but they're the reason that transformation happens. I want to share with you about a walk that changed my perspective. One of the reasons that I love walking every morning, rain or shine, is because nature teaches me lessons I couldn't learn sitting inside behind four walls. Imagine walking the same path every day. You pass the same tree, the same flowers, the same patches of grass, and at first, nothing seems different. Then one morning, one afternoon, or one evening, you notice a tiny green shoot. A week later, it's a little taller. A month later, it's blooming. Did it grow overnight? Of course not. You simply couldn't see the tiny changes that were taking place while they were happening. And I'm here to remind you, beautiful human, you are no different. Growth often feels invisible. Have you ever noticed you recover from disappointment faster than you used to? Maybe you don't react with as much anger. Maybe you speak kinder to yourself. Maybe you set a boundary without apologizing. I was guilty of saying sorry all the time because I said no. Maybe you're no longer chasing people who don't choose you. I'm extremely guilty of this. In my past, I chose people that, well, were emotionally unavailable or otherwise unavailable for many different reasons. And when I made the decision that chasing people that were not available or meant to be with me, I realized that I had officially become victorious over parts of my past. Um, some of those victories, they they may not feel dramatic, but they're evidence. Evidence that you're growing. Sometimes the greatest changes happen very quietly. I want to encourage you to stop measuring yourself by yesterday's expectations. Sometimes we become discouraged because we're measuring our progress against an expectation instead of reality. We thought that we'd be there by now, wherever there is. But what if you're exactly where your current season is inviting you to be? Not because you're settling, but because you're growing roots before branches. A tree doesn't become strong because it grows quickly. It becomes strong because its roots grow deep in the earth. Here are 3 signs that you're growing. If you can't see your growth, look for these signs. The first one, the things that used to steal your peace don't have the same power anymore. Number 2, you pause before reacting, and that pause is growth. Number 3, you're becoming more compassionate with yourself. You're no longer expecting perfection. You simply expect honesty. Those may seem like small things, but honestly and truthfully, they're very life-changing. Can I ask you something? When was the last time that you celebrated yourself? Not for achieving something, but for becoming someone different. Maybe, just maybe, today is that day. This week, instead of saying, I'm not where I want to be, try saying, I'm farther than I was, and I'm still growing. Growth isn't measured by perfection. It's measured by direction. I'd love to hear from you. Where have you grown that you haven't stopped to celebrate? Share it in the comments. I'd love for us to celebrate our great victories together. And before we go, I want to leave you with this. The flower never questions whether it's growing. The tree never wakes up wondering if it's becoming stronger. The sunrise never asks if it's bright enough. Nature simply continues becoming one day at a time. Maybe we've made growth too complicated. Maybe we've convinced ourselves that if transformation isn't dramatic, it isn't happening. But that's really true. Healing is often quiet. Confidence grows gradually. Trust is built one promise at a time. And peace usually arrives so gently, you don't even notice until chaos no longer feels familiar. My dear, beautiful human, don't confuse slow with stuck. Don't confuse quiet with nothing. And don't overlook the miracle of becoming because it doesn't happen overnight. One day, you look back and you realize the person you spent so much time trying to become was being formed one ordinary day at a time. You're growing more than you realize. And I hope today you finally give yourself credit for that. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to join our community by subscribing and hitting that bell to get notified when I come on. And if someone came to mind while you were watching, share this episode with them. You just never know who needs a reminder that their quiet progress is still progress. If you're ready to intentionally create a life that's aligned with who you're becoming, I'd be honored to walk alongside you. Explore coaching, guided meditation, and free resources at innerjourneytransformation.com. And remember, awareness opens the door, intention walks you through it. Until next time, beautiful human, keep reframing your story one thought at a time. See you next time.